Hi, good afternoon, everybody, or good morning, depending on where in the country you're joining us from today. I would like to first of all thank you for joining. We are going to be starting our PGA Ask the Tour with Harold Varner. It's sponsored by both CDW and Dell. We're going to start off with a very brief presentation with Jody Hoagland, who I'm going to pass over the mic to right now.
All right, thanks, Brian. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, Jody, we're all good.
All right, perfect. Hey, thanks, everybody. My name is Jody Hoagland. I'm the lead global technical evangelist for the latest and greatest in mid-range storage from Dell Technologies, an array called PowerStore. We brought PowerStore to market in May of this year, so this is incorporating all of the latest technology that's available in primary storage and integrating it into a go-to-market array targeted specifically at mid-range users and mid-range storage. This is bringing something to market that's been long time awaited, a lot of cool investment that we've made into this. And just to give you a little bit of background about myself, I've been with Dell Technologies for a little over 5 years. Entered the company as part of the all-flash business unit playing in the primary storage arena and all-flash array technologies. Went into leading about a third of the country from a pre-sales engineering perspective, and then wound up in a global CTO role for the past 3.5 years. So about the past, knocking on the door of 3.5 years spent working with the entirety of the primary storage portfolio as far as vision, strategy, direction, roadmaps, and then meeting with customers and evangelizing those technologies from a capability and a technical perspective. As of March of this year, I got asked by the Senior Vice President of Products to come over to the corporate side and have the direct responsibility from a technical perspective of discussing PowerStore with all of our customers, all of our partners, industry analysts, and technical analysts all around the planet. So it's a little bit of background about me. I know you're not here really to focus on me, right? So there's some really good golfing experience lined up. So we'll get into talking about PowerStore and what it is and how it can help. We know that there's a lot of focus in the industry around taking technologies that storage arrays bring to market, but bringing operational simplicity. There's so many different people trying to figure out how do they make things easier, how do they make things simpler, and that is the primary focus for PowerStore, is to make your life easy and to make your life simple as it pertains to primary storage. Right, so bringing the operational landscape and all of the efficiencies that a storage array can bring, and meeting that all in the middle from a total infrastructure perspective. There's 3 key pillars that we talk about when we have the conversations with customers around PowerStore, and that's the data-centric landscape, the intelligence of the array, and the overall adaptability of the array. So looking at the data-centric nature, this array has the ability to support any type of workload. Right? So if you're using fiber channel or iSCSI block protocols, so connecting databases or business applications, we can do that. If you're supporting or need to support file-based workloads, SMB and FS capabilities, user home directories and file shares, we have that embedded in the product as well. It is designed to be extremely resilient. It's architected for 6 nines of availability. So this is an enterprise class infrastructure with redundant everything. It's completely optimized for performance. So it's using the latest and greatest technologies available, things like NVMe, completely internalized. And also, we're one of the only players on the planet to fully incorporate storage class memory into a mid-range array. So you can actually purchase PowerStore leveraging full storage class memory devices, driving that performance profile even farther. We can also incorporate all of the efficiencies you're accustomed to in a primary storage array, things like deduplication and compression, to reduce the amount of data that you have to deal with on a daily basis. And out of the gate, we're guaranteeing a 4-to-1 data reduction. So this is our starting point as we brought the array to market in its primary form. We actually have some very interesting things coming in the next software release where we're going to see that enhanced even more. So I mentioned earlier how this array is highly intelligent. It's meant to be completely simplified. So whether it's external looking at how do you program against the array? How do you incorporate this array into other pieces of infrastructure? It is highly programmable, whether you're using, code-based deployments, infrastructure as code, and back-ending that with capabilities like Ansible or vRealize automation and orchestration from VMware. If you're doing Kubernetes, container-based clustering deployments and need persistent storage, we have the plugin that dumps right into that, right? So VMware plugins, Kubernetes plugins, Ansible plugins. So it's very smart and intelligent outside of the array. Also internalized, it's very efficient and very smart as well. We have the ability to dynamically scale PowerStore as a cluster, and all of that logic is built in. So you literally, the arrays are almost, they're just like plug and play. You literally just take one of the new arrays, plug it into the network, plug it into, to where it has power. The cluster will discover that and ingest it in, and it automatically becomes usable. So you can dynamically scale a PowerStore environment in a very simplified fashion. And also, we have full machine learning capabilities built in as well for automated data placement. So you don't have to worry about where in the PowerStore structure data needs to live or needs to be placed. The PowerStore machine learning logic will handle that for you. You just say, hey, I need a 100 terabyte LUN, then it'll put it at the right place where it needs to be. And also, from a proactive analytics perspective, understanding what's going on, giving you literally a cloud-based interface that you can look at even on your smartphone and say, hey, how is my array running? How is everything going? How is everything trending? Right? All of those analytics and data services that you expect and even next generation capabilities are there. And as we kind of wind down the conversation, this third pillar of adaptability, you'll see, which is really kind of where everything is built. We have a flexible deployment architecture within PowerStore. A lot of customers are all the rage about container-based deployment, container-based development, microservices for applications. So why not take a storage array and take that same next generation capability and build it in, right? So the PowerStore operating system is actually running containers. It's actually a container-based microservice-oriented operating system, meaning that we have very dynamic flexibility to add new features, develop things faster, and to be a lot more agile as how we bring new data services to market to our customers with PowerStore. We also have the ability to run ESXi, so VMware's hypervisor. We can actually run that on bare metal. We can run it on the storage array controllers and then run PowerStore operating system as a virtual machine on top of that. And what that does is it creates this environment we've branded and called Apps On, which is unique in the industry. No one else can do this, right? We can actually run a virtual machine directly on the storage array. Now, I know it sounds kind of like hyper-converged, but it's not. It is different because we have highly scalable storage where, our VxRail cluster or an HCI environment does have scalable CPU and memory, right? We are running this in a fixed storage array. But we can scale to petabytes of independent storage landscape, all while using all of the primary benefits of storage. We get native replication, we get deduplication, we get compression, we get all of the things that you're accustomed to in a storage array, all while simultaneously running workloads directly on the storage array. So that gives us those flexible deployment models. So we can run this as a traditional array. We can run this as this virtual instance in what we call PowerStore X, running this Apps On environment with ESX. And we also have highly flexible consumption models. You can pay by the drip. You can go into a utility model. You have all kind of different ways financially to consume PowerStore as a service, all kind of different operational landscapes to get into the technology if you don't want to make a capital investment, right? So we've got different ways of getting you in and letting you leverage this technology to its fullest. And then as we look at what we're doing moving forward with the technology and keeping you fresh as a customer, we have two primary options that we've introduced with PowerStore called Anytime Upgrade. And Anytime Upgrade allows you, the customer, to make decisions on how you refresh that architecture over time. So as part of your standard support contract, you get free controller upgrades. Right? So if you're in a 3000 series model from us and we come out with a 3500 series set of controllers, you're entitled to that upgrade as part of your support contract. So we do a non-disruptive controller swap, and you're running at the latest and greatest technology. But we take it to the next level, right? That next level being, if you want to do a full-blown upgrade, you want to go from a 3000 series to a 5000 series, you seriously want to move up in horsepower, that's covered as part of your support contract, right? You don't have to cut another check, right? We owe that to you. And also, since we can scale these arrays out in a cluster, we can put these together in a single entity, right? You have a third option that nobody on the planet can match, and that's the ability to keep the investment that you have and say that 3000 series appliance, 3000 series array, and then we give you the new 3500, right? We give you a like one that you have, and all you pay for is any additional capacity that you need. And at that point, now you have a design where you have two arrays running operationally in a cluster together, all covered under your support contract, right? And you can do this anytime in the contract without having to renew your maintenance or go into some type of long-term buying cycle or being locked in, right? So we've got the most flexible deployment methodologies on the planet. And so that's part of what plays into us talking about PowerStore is highly adaptable. So overall, you've seen it's very data centric. It's going to meet the expectations for all of these data services that you need, any type of workload, any connectivity methodology. It's going to perform. We're incorporating things like storage class memory to drive performance even better. The overall efficiency starting off at 4-to-1 and only getting better from there. Highly intelligent, whether you want to use external programmability or even things we're doing inside of the array. This autonomous nature of data placement, and then proactive health services, letting you know constantly in real time what's going on inside of that architecture and the infrastructure. And then these flexible deployment models. Whether you want to deploy into the cloud, we can do it. Whether you want to deploy as a standard array, we can do it. Whether you want full natural integration with VMware ESX and do an edge-based deployment where you have consistency from edge to core to cloud, we can do it. However you want to purchase this thing, we can do it. However you want to keep it fresh, we can do it. And leveraging technologies and partners like CDW helps us drive the future with it. So Brian, I'll turn it back over to you, because I know people are excited to hear probably more about golf than they are our primary storage array business. But I'd be glad to entertain conversations with any of the customers at a later time. And thanks for the opportunity to kind of break down briefly for a moment what we're doing with PowerStore.
Jody, that was awesome. Really, thank you. I'm going to ask you to go ahead and mute just because of the feedback. But I will want to say thank you, Jody. For any of our customers who are listening from home, that's a very compelling solution. If you're looking for more information, please reach out to your CDW account manager, and they can help share more with you as well. With that said, we have Harold Varner III. He is live. He is with us. Harold, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. How are you guys? Sorry about that.
It's all good. We were actually kidding around. I was letting one of our folks in our marketing team know that I'm probably the guy who shows up about 1 minute before every meeting as well. So
no, it's been a crazy morning, man. So sorry about that again. And,
wait, did Harold and I have the same couch? Like, I'm really excited here, man.
That is awesome. Well, with that said, Harold, we're going to jump right into it. I'll introduce myself very quickly. So I'm Brian Joseph. I'm one of the senior managers here at CDW Canada. I'll also be your host for the Fireside Chat today.
Are you in Canada right now?
One more time?
Are you in Canada right now?
I am in Canada right now.
Nice.
It's a place where you seem to perform very well, so you're welcome here.
I know.
Either way, so Harold, really for the chat today, we wanted to touch on, just a little bit of your childhood and how you kind of got into the sport. We're definitely going to get into current events and as well your career today. Before we start, though, congratulations on the top 30 finish this weekend. Had a little bit of a bumpy start. So tell us about how that was. How did that feel?
It was good. It's obviously my best finish in a major, but Sunday was it was very intriguing. As I started off so well, and I was like, let's go, let's get it. But I guess it's all a part of it. Just an interesting. The final round was about how the whole tournament went. A lot of good stuff, just some bad stuff in between, and then I had two really good finishes. I birdied 18 2 days. Just finished really well. So I was super proud of that. And it was just a bigger thing because last year playing, so poorly on Sunday, I just wanted to just, respond. I think the best people in life, they respond to things that don't go their way. So it was important to me.
It's awesome. Yeah, and the reason why I wanted to kind of maybe go back to your early days in golf is because you had this attitude that it doesn't matter how challenging things get for you. I've never seen you be down on yourself. You always seem to bounce back from it. So maybe you can tell us, where does that come from before we talk a little bit about the early days?
Yeah, so in college, I don't know where the article came, but my college coach gave me an article or a team, and it was Positive Resilient Mindset was the title. And it was just talking about how the best at what they do, they respond really well. Like we think as a society, if you win the most, you are the most successful. But if you go look at like Tiger, like, when things weren't going well, he always responded very well. Even in your job, how do we respond after this COVID situation? What's next? How are we going to progress in a way that just get things back to normal? So that was a big step in my career in golf, I guess, is just responding to things that don't go your way because life is not fair. It never will be fair, and that is what it is. So why should I get down on myself when I'm playing a game? So it's been that's been very easy for me. But the more I play and the more I go by without winning, it seems to be a little bit more added pressure. Like, when is he going to win? He keeps getting closer. But I'm not defined by anyone else's opinion. It's my journey. I'm going to run it the best that I can. Um, a lot of it, I wanted to win earlier in my career, but I didn't think I'd really, now looking back, I don't think I really knew what it takes to win. Because as I keep getting closer, I can tell more work I'm putting into it, the kind of work I'm putting into it. Like the little things matter, but there's like littler things, like real small things, like showing up on time and just doing the right thing.
So tell me about your childhood. How did you get involved in golf?
So my dad played golf, and it was just a great place to hang out with him. Like I never was going to beat him. He was so much better than me, but it was just a place to, hang out with my dad, really. And then when I turned about 10, I started playing this Muni course. It was $100 from June 1st until September 1st. Monday through Friday, you could play as much as you wanted. So it was very awesome. So I got hooked on it without even really trying. It's not like my parents forced me, but my dad would drop me off on the way to his work, and my mom would pick me up on her way home. So it was just, I wish I could go back to it right now. I feel like I'm in those days right now, like one person to a cart, going out there playing right before dark. So it's COVID's brought back a lot of memories of my golf career. It's just the things I've been able to do, because usually it's too busy, you can't get out at that time. But now people are like, you just go whenever.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's an awesome story because, one of the challenges that, some folks find with getting involved in golf is the cost. But
No
having
kid.
a program like that was
No kid. It is so expensive.
So let me ask you this: what kept you in the sport? And the reason why I'm going to ask you this question, and for the folks who don't know, Varner, he's born in Akron, Ohio, so obviously the home city of none other than LeBron James. You also were raised in North Carolina, none other than the home state of Michael Jordan. It's also, those two states are widely known as football states. What keeps you involved?
I'm addicted to knowing that I can get better without someone else's help. When I get off this phone, I'm this web thing. I'm going to go practice, like work on what I know, what I need to work on. That always intrigued me. I was never big enough to play a real sport like basketball or football, and I just didn't really want to get hit that much. And one thing you find out is like, how bad do you really want it? So when you're out there by yourself, I'm sure that every athlete has had this point where you find ways to get better without everything. And then when you get to the big leagues, it's like, oh, you want this? All right, yeah, we got it. So it was easy for me. I just don't, sometimes you get back to just being a kid, you just, you just love it so much. Like I love playing golf. Like it's 100 degrees. I'm not even thinking twice about like if or not. No, I'm going. I want to. And obviously last week helped, but I've been that way when things aren't going well. So it's I don't know. It's just a love for, obviously if I play well, I will be able to help more people. That kind of keeps me going a little bit. Um, I want to have a good life and be able to do cool things, and you can make money. But all in all, it comes right back down to the fact that I want to win and I love what I do.
It's awesome. So Harold, before we move on to some of the more current things happening, is there anyone that you want to thank from when you were a child? Like who were maybe the big influences in your life and maybe helped you get here today?
Yeah, four of them. So my college coach, Preston McFall, just he could have let me do it, not anything, but just let me just slack off, and he knew where I wanted to be in the golf side of life, and he just did a good job of just separating golf and my life. Like for school at that time, a guy named Bruce Sutter who taught me how to play golf. Started taking lessons from him when I was 16, and then my parents um, just taught me how to be a decent human, knowing right from wrong, knowing what if you know what's right and wrong, it's like when you get pulled over for a speed ticket, officer. I knew what I was doing. It's not like you just, oh, I couldn't believe I was speeding. Yeah.
I've said that twice at least.
And see, I do that, but I just take the ticket, shake his hand, and keep it moving.
For sure. So let me ask you about playing professionally. Talk to me about maybe the journey. When did you start playing professionally, and what was that whole journey and experience like?
Absolutely amazing. I just wish that for everyone that they have a place or something that they can work really hard at and get paid to do it. You can't put a price on it. It's priceless. So I turned pro in June of 2012. I played the mini tours for a year and a half. So I played the rest of that year on the mini tours, missed in Q school. Then I played the next year, but I did qualify for the US Open in 2013. And then I got through Q school that fall. And then I went on the Corn Ferry Tour for 2 years, starting in 2014. And then got my card in 2016, 15. They run together, but I played 2 years on the Corn Ferry Tour, and then this is my 5th year on the PGA Tour. It's been absolutely amazing. It's funny, like you're talking about, like, oh, he worked his way up, this and that. But I really enjoyed the early years because my best friend was caddying for me, and he was playing professional baseball. So it was like he would come home for the summer and he would caddy, and we enjoyed every second of it. Yes, do I love making more money? Obviously, it's freaking awesome. But spending time, like, I'd never forget the second tournament we went to. I had no AC in my car and it was 100 degrees, and we got our feet out of the window, and we're just doing 80 down the road, just traveling 6 hours to play a 4-day tournament.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
I was gonna say a lot of folks don't know the grind of maybe a pro amateur golfer and what
Yeah,
that grind is actually like really early on in the career. You were also the first black golfer to make it to the tour through the web.com. Talk me through that, and do you feel that you're an inspiration to a different generation at this time?
Oh, without a doubt. I know that people look at me because I am black, especially right now. But yeah, I know that. But I've had so many different walks of life help me in my life. So I feel as if I'd be doing a disservice if all I did was I wanted to inspire black kids to play professional golf. That sounds so selective and so little. Like, why wouldn't I just try to help anyone? Like, that's what's wrong with our world right now. We choose in a way to help only a certain category. And I think that people's lives are way more important than putting them in a category. So I'm very thankful that I am, God made me the way I am. So I embrace it. I have a great opportunity to help people from being black and being good at golf. So um, I didn't really know anything about being a black golfer until I got into the PGA system. Like that got on the PGA Tour. It became a vocal point of every time I was in contention, a black golfer, and it was very eye opening to grow up in a society that I think we are better than we were when I was growing up. We have progressed, and to go further, and then the only thing that you talk about is how I'm black, So it's been eye opening to me. I've learned a lot. I've learned how to articulate my answers because I don't want to sit here and be like, yes, I understand, because no, like you want to care, but you also want to let them know where you stand. I think that's important. I mean, it took me 30 years, so I hope I can put it together.
You've been very balanced in, I think, your response, and I think all communities can appreciate that. But maybe what I can ask you is, were there any challenges for you, maybe going up through the ranks? Because it sounds like you had a really great ride so far, and a lot of
Yes,
achievements along the way.
and that's why I say what I say is because my journey has not been affected by the color of my skin. So when people ask, I'm like, I would have a different point of view if someone said one day I couldn't go play a golf course. I've never been in that situation. I've never been told I couldn't do this or I couldn't do that. But that doesn't also say that I haven't seen wrong things done because of color. But I think in the society we live in and right now in golf and in life in general is I think there's enough good people that we're going to figure it out. There is good. There's more good than bad, and I'm going to stick to that because as I'm talking, I'm telling my journey. It's also my job to listen to know where other people are coming from. Hey, how can I help you? Like because if we don't work together, man, we're just going to get further and further apart. Next thing you know, we'll have like black 2020 people. We'll be categorized in something else.
Yeah.
So it's important more than ever right now to stick together, the good people, because there's so extremes, where, yeah, man, when you see the stuff on TV, that is wrong. That is evil. That is something that I don't think anyone would ever say, oh, I approve of that. And if they do, that's the people you should not associate with. So I'm very fortunate to have a platform, but I'm more proud of how I'm learning how to articulate my opinion in a way that's not so, right now you could piss someone off by just saying something that you like or you agree, because an opinion turns into a law right now. So in my journey, I want to learn just as much as people want to listen to black people talk about their lives. Like I want to know about that. Like, where's your problem? Because we're in this together.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think you've had just an awesome message around this. I think it's been a very balanced message for anyone who's listening right now. And I think it's important that it is balanced because there's obviously a lot of great folks that may not look like us that really advocate and are on our side and really do try to
Correct.
help. And we need to be very vocal in being and appreciative of that. And I think that you've just done a phenomenal job doing that. It's a very balanced response, and I think it's something a lot of folks can learn from.
Like, yeah, we'll have a time to put our foot down. It'll be a time, it's like anything in life, it's okay to be wrong. Like if we're all right, we wouldn't be here right now.
All right, we're going to change the topic here. Let's move on to COVID-19 because you're an athlete. You need to perform, but you're having to perform and practice during this pandemic. Talk me through that. Like, how are you able to stay in shape mentally? How are you staying focused?
The hardest part is taking the thing up the nose, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I mean, it just does not feel great. It's hit or miss. You either get someone good and they're like, it feels good, takes 7 seconds, or you get someone and next thing you know, you're sneezing on the lady. I feel bad. The last one I got, she got me good, and I was trying to hold it in. And as soon as she came out, I tried to catch it. I didn't. So it's that part isn't very fun, but I think we're taking the correct precautions to do the best we can. We're fortunate to be playing, as we can tell how college football's going, how baseball's going. The NBA's done a great job. I think they play a sport where they can get into a bubble, so it makes it easier. So I'm super thankful for the PGA Tour just to find a way to get us back playing. I think it's tough on the whole world in general. Like it's a trickle down effect. It's hitting everyone. So it's just very super grateful to be playing a sport that we could play, and they did a good job administrating it and making sure it goes smoothly. But I haven't had any trouble practicing or playing. My home golf course closed down for 4 days during the COVID, and then they opened back up, but we couldn't have any guests, so that was unfortunate because sometimes you want to play with some really good players that are from, say Pinehurst or something like that. So they weren't allowed to travel. So it's been, man, it's been unfortunate because you grieve with the people that are just like they need the work, you know. It's there's that's what hurts me. But from the golf side, it's been fine. I couple last week was unfortunate. The health and safety people came in there and like we had to eat at our lockers. I like to socialize a lot. So like when you're
Yeah,
eating,
we can't tell, Harold.
so I struggled eating at my locker. When I travel, I do my best to try to sit next to someone, see just random people. I try not to eat by myself, so it was super awkward to be honest with you. But it's just it is what it is. We'll see it through. We're gonna figure it out. But for me, golf wise, not much has changed other than sometimes you got to ride in a golf cart by yourself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, you mentioned the NBA, so at some point we might have to talk about that guy who's on your shirt. We're not going there yet, though. But what I will ask you is, you said that the NBA's kind of done it right, and I think you're probably talking about with the virtual fans, and if you're watching it on live from home, it really still feels like a game. It still feels like
Yes.
that action is happening,
I watched my
right?
first one last night. Yeah, it's like
It's
loud.
amazing.
I'm like, what's going on? Like, and then you have a couple dollars here and there, and next thing you know, you're really tuned in.
Yeah. So talk me through not having fans on the tour and still playing. I'm going to make this a two-part question. Talk me through that, and then also talk me through maybe what the camera can now pick up now that there's no fan noise, and maybe some of the things we heard you say. Hopefully, no kids are online right now.
Oh man! So the first one, ask it one at a time. No fans in general. It's been terrible. They're an important part of our sport. I like socializing. I like entertaining. I like laughing. I love telling people thank you, thanks for being here. So right now, I just tell the people that are volunteering. I like hearing the roars. I feed off that. I Last week would have been really fun because all the holes run right back and forth of each other. It would have been a nightmare for a caddy though. It would have been terrible. I would have laughed so hard. And then your second, say the second question again.
Yeah, so I'm really just thinking about maybe what the camera has picked
Oh
up now.
yes, yes.
I won't go
Well,
into detail, but I'm pretty sure anyone who's at home, any of the audience, go ahead and Google it. You'll figure it out very quickly.
yeah.
First
So I had an accident. Help head, but I will say this: literally, the boomstick is right next to you.
Yeah.
I think it's good for the sport when you're competing. It's like you guys when you're at work. I don't come to your job and tell you what you should or shouldn't say. And when things don't go your way at work that day, I don't come in there and be like, oh, you can't say that. It's called they get really close, but the amount of money we play for, you can get closer if you would like. Like I accept it. Your job is to be a professional. I want to do better. Sometimes it's an accident. And I think it's great for the fans to hear because the best thing that can happen is if you can be like, oh, I relate with him. Like you can be like, oh, I like that guy because he's relatable. That's why people love Michael Jordan. He might be the greatest, but they can relate to not making your high school team. They can relate to, being grown up in North Carolina. And with Tiger, sometimes it's hard to relate with him because he's been so freaking good for so long. I mean, when has he been bad at golf? He made his high school team in golf.
Well, you now mentioned Tiger. You also mentioned Michael, so I think we're going to have to at least ask a question here. You are, I think, the second golf player to be sponsored from the Jordan brand. Is that correct?
Yes. Yeah. Second one was shoes, and first one was clothes.
Wow, that's awesome. So what's it like meeting Mike? you got quite the entourage when we look at your crew now. Tiger on one side, Mike on the other side. You're pretty much just
Yeah,
surrounded by greatness.
I'm super fortunate. I obviously every time I've been doing a lot of these types of things over the last 4 or 5 months, and just for so grateful to have those guys, just to be able to bounce things off of them, ask them a question about life, because there's a lot that goes into being a professional. It isn't just the golf part, and then ask them about asking Tiger about golf. It's just super thankful, but it's not like I waited for them to contact me. You know, I do everything in my power to like reach out to them. Hey, you know, whatever, like this is what I want to know, or sometimes they get back and sometimes they don't. But for the most part, they've been super helpful in my journey.
It's awesome. And most important question: what's your favorite Jordans?
Ooh, the threes,
Ooh, yeah, you're talking.
threes, tens, 11s.
Whew, okay.
I like the one lows though, because you can wear them about anywhere.
Tens of oh boy, I'm with you. Tens and elevens, I'm with you. But you called it the first time. The threes are by far the best Jordans ever made. Moving on, there's a story about meeting Tiger or trying to meet Tiger when you were a child online. Is that a true story?
That could not be more spot on. I was
So
so bummed. So bummed. So I knew he was signing like here and there. Like I could see, I got a feel. I'd been to the Wachovia, that's what it's called then, the Wells Fargo now. I'd been, and it used to be, if I'm explaining this right, like just follow along. Right now, you go over this road and people walk under. It used to be they would stop for players to come and you just go straight across. And Tiger would like at the end would just sign like a few quick ones and keep rolling.
Yeah.
So I get behind this girl and I'm like, this is it. I'm gonna get this. Kind of, he signs hers and I get right here, right next to her. And I mean, he just blanked me. And I'll never forget, I told him that story, and he said, "It's probably why you're here." And I was so, I mean, just with no hesitation, he's like, "It's probably why you're here." And I was ready to fight. Like, you can just say it.
Well, you took my next question.
Man, yeah, it is true. And then they made a cartoon out of it, and I didn't cry or anything, but it was pretty funny because I just can't believe he didn't miss a beat. Like, oh yeah, man, I don't sign here or there. So no, that's probably why you're here. Whatever, man.
Well,
Yeah,
anytime he tries to ride you, just remind him that you outdrive him. Moving
yeah.
on to.
Oh, he'll talk to you about it. He ain't scared of it.
So let's talk about some golf tips. I mean, Harold, there's something that I see online, and I kind of hate the term. It's like, with Harold's small stature, he's one of the largest drivers on tour. And I'm sorry, I had to go and Google this, but you are legitimately like the average height and average weight. Okay, you are literally the average human being.
That makes me feel good because I stepped on the scale today and I felt really good about myself. So thank you.
So tell me, talk us through. The majority of us golfers all look like you, but you're able to, drop that ball like, I'm not even going to give you how much yardage than me, but a lot further than I can. So talk me through. What are you doing, or what are some tips that you can give to some of the folks at home?
This is so bad. I've been asked this question so many times. I literally have no clue, like why it goes further or doesn't go further. I couldn't begin to tell you. But only thing I know is ever since I was a kid, I try to hit it as far as I can. Like literally every chance I could. If I got driver, I'm trying to hit it as far as I can. So it doesn't, as much as it sounds cool that I hit it far, I mean, some of them go offline though. It's coming in hot.
Yeah. Well, I think one of the I can't remember what tournament I was watching where I literally overheard you say, "I'm just aiming 30 yards right and I'm just letting them rip," basically.
Yeah.
Just playing the drop. Yeah. So that's awesome. So last year, actually, where should we go here? Let's go
You got some good ones. I can see how you're looking at that screen.
Let's go to last year. I think this is probably one of the tougher ones, and I think I can relate with this. Yesterday I was playing golf. I started off with 3 really great holes. Thought it was going to be one of my better rounds of the year. I will not tell you how I finished.
You'll be back there. That's the difference.
Definitely not the best round of the year. But tell me, how do you bounce back? You've had some moments where, if you go last year, you were in the finals in the PGA Tour, you're going into the final round. You didn't have your best showing, but I'm just so curious, like, how do you bounce back with the smile that you do every single time? I legitimately I've tried to find you down. I cannot find anything with you screaming at someone, throwing a club. You never look like you're down. Talk me through, how do you bounce back from that?
There's just so many. It's so easy. It's perspective. At the end of the day, it could be taken away tomorrow is number one thing, and two, it's a game. I mean, in 30 years from now, I have a hard time. Maybe not 30 years from now, but when I'm done playing, 30 years from then, I have a hard time believing people will remember my golf career. Like, that's just fact. I mean, I don't know who won the Masters in 1980. I don't. That's not a bad thing. That's not a bad thing on the Masters, but you would consider that a big tournament, correct? I mean, everyone knows all the history in that, but you know one thing that everyone will remember: how you carried yourself and how you impacted their life. And if you can be a part of their lives as a kid or wherever you said something, they will remember that forever. So it's just easy. It's just called being a decent human and actually caring about people. So I don't know. I thank you for trying to find the bad stuff, and I'm sure there's going to be bad stuff that comes one day. It's called being a competitor, but at the end of the day, I know what is most important, and it isn't that golf ball, or it isn't even really me. It's me helping others, I guess, or giving whatever that might be in some form or fashion. I play a game and I make good money doing something I love to do. It's a thing. It's material. I could drive down the street tomorrow and not be able to play it again. It's just the way it is. So I have about 5 minutes after every round where I get it all out. You breathe, you vent, you because don't get it wrong. I want to be as good as I can be. I want to be one of the best in the world. So I just spend 5 minutes, no one's around. Maybe my caddy, maybe my agent, uh, maybe my fiance, but no one else is around. And I'm telling you, I might use every word under the sun, but we're gonna get it out. We're gonna talk about it. We're gonna breathe. And then after those 5, 10 minutes, after the PGA, it took me about 10 minutes. I was pretty bummed because that's what you play for. Um, but after that, man, it's on to the next. What I need another egg to fry. I need another opportunity. And what's so awesome about that tournament, I played so bad on Sunday. I saw some ignorant people bashing Brooks. It was very nasty. Um, but it showed me what maybe I might have to experience one day when I'm back in contention to winning a major. So I learned a lot. But later that year in New York, I got back into contention, and it was so freaking awesome. I played well. I responded. I had another chance to do something that I hadn't done before. So I always just look at it as like, hey man, just do what you do. Like relax, let go, have fun, and compete. Just be the best competitor you can be.
Mhm. Yeah, with that situation, you were pretty vocal at that time as well. With I think the way the fans were maybe
Yeah,
handling that
it should be.
situation.
That is not how you carry yourself. That's what's wrong with people. That is exactly how you get your ass whooped. That
I,
that's that that is what's wrong. That you can get away with that and not be confronted.
and I think this is why you get a lot of love. I think what you say and what you do are very much aligned. I,
Yeah,
I think this
I
is why a
mean,
lot of people are attracted to the Harold Varner brand right now.
Mike Tyson has the greatest line ever. He said Twitter has or social media has made it to where someone can say something and forget that he can get his tail whooped. It's good. I think that's so spot on. Because when you're in high school, you're like, I ain't gonna say that to him. I ain't gonna
Damn
get
right.
him. But when you get the phone, you're like, I'm gonna get him down. Yeah,
For sure. I'm going to ask you a few questions that we have coming in from our audience here.
awesome.
And some
Fire
of
it
them
up.
are tip questions. So hopefully you're feeling in a good mood to help some of us with games that do not look like yours.
Oh, that's fun.
What is the best golf swing or putting tip that you ever received? From whom was it?
Best putting tip? Best putting tip. Lee Jansen gave me a drill. Follow along. It's hard to. So I'm putting. Say I'm putting this way, and I'm looking down at the ground. So there's two tees, one at the top of the club, one at the bottom. Fits the putter length. And then about a foot in front of it, there's one that fits the ball. This is the top of the ball. This is where the bottom of the ball is. So if I putt through this, with my putter and I don't hit the tees and it gets through the ball, the gate for the ball, that means my path matched the face. So if I can start it on line every time, it's pretty good. And then chipping, I'm not a good chipper. I hit it really well, so I chip so bad. So the best thing I've ever learned about chipping is drop 50 balls and hit one ball how you think, hit them to the same pin about 10 times so you get a feel how the grass is. Then start rehearsing where you need to set up for the ball to come out a certain height. So like if it's coming out low and you got it in the middle of your stance, just keep moving this way and get a little bit more open. If it's coming out too high, just get a feel, but take a picture and try to recreate that so you know how it feels. So you're doing the same thing every time.
Love it. What's the best drill to help with remove a fade from your swing?
So I do it visually. So if this is the ball, and right now you feel like you're swinging like this. So you're swinging like this with an open club face. So sometimes it's coming really down on the ball. The best thing I can think of is if we're coming into it, we're coming a little inside, let the toe pass the heel from the inside. So this is a circle. Let me see. Here we go. This is a circle. The club moves like this. You want to come from the inside with the toe closing with slight rotation. That's the best thing I can say because what I could tell you is if you're cutting you're coming too like this, but what you'll end up doing is trying to come too far in. So you're either doing like this and the club is open, like you're coming over the top and it's opening. You want to come from the inside with the toe closing over the heel.
That is great advice. I'll say for myself, that would be splitting a hair. I'm not so sure I can get that toe to get through before, but practice, I'm guessing.
Yeah, that never hurts.
Awesome. So one more for you. What part of your game do you maybe practice the most, and how long are your practice sessions?
Right now I've been practicing my chipping, but I need to get on that darn putting ring. Is what I need to do. I've been hitting it really bad for the last year before January, and then all of a sudden I started getting my ball striking back, and I just getting not a sour attitude, but I'm getting a lot of looks and just not converting on them. And my attitude's been good. I just haven't been making them, so I guess it's just golf. But this is probably the best all-around year I've ever had statistically. But I just got to work on my putting. I'm like 150 this year, so it'll come around. I've been working at it. I just got to keep believing and do what I do best, respond.
Awesome. So Harold, with about a few minutes left here, I thought we can maybe
I showed it late. You can ask questions for a while. You're good.
Awesome. We're going to change the topic here. I want to get to some personal questions to kind of wrap up here because I think a lot of us know you a bit as a golfer, but I think it's important that we get to know you a little bit more as a person. I think today's been very helpful. I want to ask you some non-golf related questions.
Yeah.
Awesome. What's important to you? What's important to Harold?
What's important to me? Helping other people. That's probably the most important thing to me. Just knowing that how many people help me. It's important to help people, but something that I've been super on lately is kids access to sports. It's getting harder and harder for a kid to play sports. I don't know why, but growing up, for me, it was like, if you want to play a sport, you just sign up and go, Now it's like, you got a rim, you got all this, like they play this league, that league. I don't care what league it is. Let them play. So those are very important to me because sports can change people's lives. They give people meaning. They give them something to be a part of that should not cost a lot of money. It gives them hope. Right now we're struggling. Kids. I bet you it's the first time kids want to go to school. They don't. So I guess that's a good thing. Now they want to go to school, but just gives them something to work for, something to work towards, something that they know that in the long run, one day they're going to have to put in the time, whatever that is.
I think we know a lot of your strengths as an athlete, but what about as a person? What do you think your strengths are?
I think I can make people laugh. I think I'm a pretty good motivator, but I'm not really good at articulating it. Like if I see weakness, I only know one way to really tell you. And sometimes it's definitely not approved in 2020, but the way that my dad got me going is the only way I know. Like if you want something, I'm not going to be here to be like, hey man, you can do it. You're not a dog. We're not going to pet you around and see if you can do it. No, if you want to do it, you're going to do it. Hey, chin up, let's roll.
How about I was expecting to hear something like Call of Duty or gaming or something. I thought
I'm
something was
so freaking, man, I don't know, man. Between all the, I get all this good stuff. I don't, I don't shoot anybody. I just die.
Is it fair to say this is why we recruited Arturo to have your back?
Yes, yeah. We played last night. Man, that freaking kid, it's unbelievable. I like to die and just watch him play.
Harold, you got the best, and this is my own personal story, my own personal opinion. I think you have one of the best stories when it comes to just engaging, and I would tell you, not even a fan at this point, just engaging people. For anyone who's on the line here, I mean, I'm going to allow you to maybe explain the relationship with Arturo, but I just think that this is a phenomenal story. I know there was some tragedy in his life as well, and I was able to see you actually brought him in to see you. So I'm going to stop there and just let you maybe talk
Yeah.
through Arturo and what that was like.
Yeah, so as a kid, my dad hated video games. He said that it was taking up time. So like, once I got my own house and I like had a little bit of extra money, I was like, man, I'm gonna get me a PlayStation, dog. So me and a couple guys, we play together all the time. My manager and agent right now was playing with this kid. His name's Arturo, the kid that you guys can look up. He plays with him and he texts me. He's like, hey man, you got to play with this guy. Like random game. I'm talking like Preston just signed on and was like, yeah, I'm just gonna play. He plays with him. And they're like talking smack to each other, he says. And so he texts me, he's like, come on and play. So Arturo, we meet through gaming and about, just crazy. Like I'm trying to shorten it because it just has so many little things into it that
Yeah.
that man, dude, it just touches me every time. So he is crazy poor, but like we just joke around, man. Like we joke, like I've been poor before, like, and Arturo starts learning about like he has no clue that I play golf. Like he has no clue. Like, oh my gosh, it's so funny, man. He has no idea. So he learns, he starts following at the PGA. Like if anyone's on this thing and understands the old Call of Duty, it has a sensor dart, and they understand when I lost my golf ball at the PGA on number 4. He texted me that day. So like things like this help me get over stuff.
Yeah.
He's like, I see you, Gerald. He's like, we need a sensor dart for your golf ball. Those are things I remember. But so then Carlos, I start playing with Carlos Ortiz. Carlos speaks Spanish. I'm like, hey man, I need to get a PlayStation to this kid. Like he's using he has it, but he shares it. I'm like, no, this kid I want whatever it takes. And then CDW got him a screen. I got him a PlayStation. We're working on getting him a gaming chair. He's actually got a bad back from playing so much. But it's been the thing about it is man, you just love helping a kid that wants to do better. Man, it just gets me every time. So later on, I'm like, he wasn't on, he wasn't talking, but I follow him on Facebook, and I thought his dad died. I didn't know if it was like, just was a good mentor or something. I said, dude, you ever need anything, you let me know. Just so I mean, I didn't know him, but I knew him. Like, you talk to people after you know him. And he didn't have enough money to like get by till the time that you get insurance. I guess that's how it works. I mean, never really been dealt anything after someone died. But so we sent him some money. I just didn't know how else to help him. I mean, he needed help. He has 6 other siblings, and they were moving out, and they kind of use his mom. And Arturo's still there, so Arturo, this was pretty cool. Arturo takes up for his mom, like always, like, no, you guys aren't going to abuse mom. And so once we sent the money, he calls, and it was a group of us. It wasn't just me, and he's crying. And the thing that got me was when his mom, I could hear his mom crying while he was just trying not to cry. So then, back to the good stuff. Later that year, we're going to Mexico. We couldn't get him to America. I'm trying to get him to come to my wedding, but definitely ain't happening now with COVID, unfortunately. But so he comes to Mexico, and I usually stay in the hotel, so I just got a suite, and he couldn't believe it. Like, this is how thoughtful he is. He's from Tabasco, Mexico, and I didn't know that's where like real Tabasco hot sauce is. So like he brought all these little like hot sauce things. I like hot sauce, but it ain't, like it's 100 degrees down in Mexico. I ain't trying to eat something. So he comes and he stays the whole week, and I knew it was coming, but I didn't know it was coming so soon. He comes to my room because we're staying right across each other, and he's like, "I just want to tell you thank you. You give me hope. I just that's why it's easy to keep it in perspective. Like, and he just gives me the biggest hug, and he cried. And I was like, "Hey man, save this for the airport. We ain't doing this shit, right? We ain't." Because Amanda comes downstairs and she's like, "Everything okay?" And Arturo's like, wiping his eyes. I'm like, "Man." And so we go to sleep that night, and we wake up, and he said, "My dad would be so proud of me." And like, my dad's always been in my life, so like I had to sit there and I had to understand that, like, what does it take to be a father? Like, how can you impact that much and still be gone? And yeah, it was crazy. Then we got to the airport. And
Yeah.
I couldn't hold it back, man. I couldn't do it because a freaking video game changed that kid's life, changed my life. I got everything I want and kind of in the world. I want to be on the PGA Tour. I want to have chances to win. That guy changed my life.
I think it's one of the most incredible stories.
It's insane. Because on the headset, you can't tell if you're really helping him. Or money helps, but like, are you really helping him like as a crutch? Are you helping him? And for him to be like, "I want to come to America and work," we're going to figure it out. It's just going to take time, and it is what it is. And I'm just so fortunate to be a part of his life, but I'm more fortunate that he's a part of mine because, once again, I shot 81. Man, I got a home to go to. I got people that love me.
Yeah.
My dad's still around. I got so much to be thankful for.
We're coming up to the hour, Harold. Can I leave with maybe one more question for you here?
Yeah, you fire away. I mean,
All
I
right.
should have been here earlier. You would have had more.
All right, make it two then.
All right, sounds good.
I want to ask you this one, and this is one that I had for myself because I was very curious because I followed you many years ago. So when this opportunity came up, I was very quick to jump on it. So that's the first thing. But I know the truth is this: I feel like I knew quite a bit about you. I felt like I knew you coming into this interview, but that's not true. There's only so much we're gonna get from Google and articles and hearing you drop F-bombs on the tour and stuff. So
Yeah.
I guess where I'm going with this is tell us something about yourself that maybe the audience, that you can maybe teach us something about yourself that we just wouldn't find from Googling or reading an article.
All right, my biggest thing is that you try whatever's put on the table. So when we were kids, you ate whatever was on the table. You didn't have a choice. So I'm allergic to shellfish. I love shellfish. Didn't find out until I was 16, but I'm a big fan of, just because it doesn't look good, you don't like it, try it. Because then like, you don't go around here just being so close-minded. And I think it starts at the table. Like, if you are willing to put that in your mouth and give it a try, you would do that in other aspects of life. that it's one of my things, like, especially when we go to these dinners and there's stuff on there, you're like, because growing up, man, I didn't know anything about some of these foods. I'm like, my mom didn't cook that, like, nah, not having. So you go to these nice dinners and you see this little like thing just hanging over like stuff, and you're like, but as a kid, you just ate whatever was there. So like then I started, all right, cool, like I'm gonna do that on a fancier level. Like so I'll go to the same restaurants and try to order something different every time.
I love it.
Just just something little, but it means a lot to me.
Well, if you're ever out in Canada, I know at least a couple great restaurants that will prepare something interesting or unique for you. So give a shout anytime you're down here. And then the last question that I want to kind of leave you with here is just thinking about going back to the tour. Is there anything that you wish for your sport that you could achieve prior to while you're currently still on the tour?
You wish that the PGA Tour would do, or me?
You know what? Thanks for making it two
No.
parts. Let me hear you, and then what would you like to see from the PGA?
All right, for me, I think that it's right now it's pretty simple. It's getting to the point where it's like, hey, let's go get a win. Like I keep getting in there, I keep touching. The only thing that I see in my career is that when I keep getting in contention, I keep getting further along in that round or further along, and it's just called running a race. It is what it is. So that's my thing. What's something that I wish the PGA Tour would do? I do wish they would make golf more fun. I think the players do a disservice by making it like, oh, I'm gonna kick that guy out for acting like a fool. That guy just spent $200 on beers, and he's going to tell his friends why he loves going to golf tournaments so much that then he brings his other friend that spends $200. Have more appreciation of that. As long as the guy ain't hitting you in the head, it's gonna be all right. Like, relax. He didn't affect you. Like, I get there's a time and place for everything, but there is nothing better than going down number 16 at the Waste Management and just enjoying it. Man, that is what it is about. People hanging out. That's why COVID's been rough on me personally, because people you hug. I'm a big hugger. Hey, how are you, man? Give me a hug. You can't do that right now. And yeah, that's what I wish they would do, but I don't see that happening anytime soon.
Harold, I want to thank you. I'm going to leave you with this. You just said that you're a big hugger. You're also known to be one of the big trash talkers in the league. Do you have a favorite person to trash talk?
Favorite person? Anyone that I feel like is going to challenge me, that might fire back. Like Pat Perez is a good one. Obviously all my friends, Carlos Ortiz, Bud Colley, Joaquin Neiman. I love getting under. This is so weird. Bud's my age. We live close together in Jacksonville, so I'm always going to be in his ear, always be, But Carlos is my age. But Joaquin Neiman's so young, man. Like when I talk smack to him, I feel like an old man. Like, you gonna let this old man beat you, dog? So it's funny, man. It's really weird being older on tour. It's a lot different, but I'm embracing it. It's a part of. I needed it to further my career in golf, so I'm super thankful that I made it this far without blowing it up. But it's just I enjoy talking. I mean, if anyone has anything to chirp about, I'll fire back. I love it.
Yeah. Harold, do not change.
I will not.
It's a pleasure to watch you on the tour. We think, at least I'll tell you personally, I think that energy that you bring to the tour is exactly what it needs. It helps to bring a different generation and different communities to the sport because you make it interesting. So definitely love watching it and love
Thanks
watching
so
you specifically on the tour.
Thanks for having me. Thanks for bearing with me. You should have seen how fast this car was going to get here. About not made it here.
Just phenomenal. Appreciate it. Harold,
got it.
we want to thank you, everyone who's at home or in the office listening. We want to thank you for joining us today. Harold, we're going to wish you all the best throughout the tour, and I'm going to personally be cheering as you get to that first tour win.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me, guys, and everyone who tuned in a little longer than you should have. I appreciate you.